welcome anytime, Dan. Now, I'm going to tell them what happened between you and me and how I ended up in ground zero. Okay? Is that all right? Dan, is that all right with you that I tell them the story about how I got to ground zero? Is that all right with you? Okay, that's a yes. Okay, what happened is I was asked, and that time I was teaching kids, and I thought I was in trouble because they were Native children. Puskapay was pretty well Native. It was like being on a reserve, but in a small town just outside Dawson Creek. And I know you're enjoying this. So consequently, they asked me to go to this community hall, and there was a chair in the center, And when I was there was a group of elders around me, and then there was you with, I didn't know that was talking stick. I thought it was just a walking stick. And if you hear some noise in the background, that's my heater. And yeah, I know, you're licking me. She doesn't like me talking. So anyway, the meantime, they put me in the center, and I was terrified. I was totally terrified because I thought for sure I'd done something wrong. Hey, Dan, right? Swing hard if that's true. I was terrified. So they put me in the center, and then they walked around me with this burning grass. I thought, my God, I must have demons, because they're walking around. It was sweet grass. And they were walking around, and there was a circle with the elders and him at the end. And so that was weird. And then he you stamped the stick, didn't you, Dad? You stamped the stick, right? Yeah, 3 times. Bang, bang, bang. and I had the worst fear. I had, oh my God, I did something wrong for the kids. I said something wrong. Because I go right into that guilt trip really quick. I was a Jehovah's Witness still then. And so I guilt-tripped myself really fast. And so consequently, the next thing you guys did was put a pair of moccasins on me, right? A pair of moccasins on me. And the next thing, I had this little red vest, right? A little red vest. And I still have it. And then he all at once, he kind of went into sort of a trance. Is that right? He kind of went into a trance, right? And then you said, the Great Spirit, you were in, what was it, Sweat Lodge? You said for 3 days or something. Is that true? And you were talking to the Great Spirit, right? So you were the medicine man and the shaman for northern Alberta and northern BC. True? Is that true, Dan? Okay. It's a big story. I went to their festivals and everything. And my best girlfriend, his daughter, she was my nurse. That's how we met. And Leonard had given me the dose. Remember I mentioned that? From my best girlfriend. And she wanted to cut off his penis. I thought that was funny. So anyway. So I kind of got adopted by the family. And she kind of protected me. And so anyway. And you said the reason I was there is the Great Spirit. Is this true? Said I was going to go on a great journey. Is that what you said? Okay. And the world will never be the same. And did you say that the Great Spirit adopted me? And I was a white First Nations woman. I was a white, and I was adopted by the shaman, you, and the Great Spirit. And I want to ask, is the Great Spirit, who is this Great Spirit? Is that the same as Jehovah and Jesus and all that? Is the Great Spirit independent, or are they all the same? Well, Jesus is independent. He's the first creation. But is the Great Spirit kind of like Jehovah or Yahweh, or is that the same, except that's a native word? Ah, see, we're all believing what's that all about? The group is agreeing with this. Wow, the group is going crazy. This is crazy. So you all agree that God is the universe. Jesus, are you here too? So, is the Great Spirit your dad, or Jehovah, or Yahweh, or one who is and who always will be? Is the Great Spirit and is making the universe bigger and bigger and bigger? Does that mean there's other worlds? Are the ETs good or bad? Stop. Are these ETs actually good creatures or bad creatures? Should we be fear of them? Is that good? Are they good? It's sort of kind of iffy. Going in a circle. Not going to tell me. Do they live underneath the ocean? Do these ETs live in portholes underneath the ocean? Kind of like, I was told I lived in Atlantis, and they said I was a great priestess or queen. I don't know. I don't remember that, but I've been told by 3 people. Was I a high priestess in Atlantis? Oh, they say so. Okay, stop that. Stop. Was I also? I have memories. This one I do have. I was a Tibetan woman living in the mountains with my horses. Is that true? Is that why my art looks so Japanese? Yeah. Okay. So in the meantime, I want to find out about this great spirit. So I was adopted, and when you were now I want to ask, when you said I was going to go on a great journey and the world never be the same again, and you said I was chosen, to go to Ground Zero and become the 9/11 Canadian Angel. You said that the Great Spirit was going to use me to heal the world. Is that true? No, stop. Now, when I'm in heaven, could we come back and go back? I believe in reincarnation, guys. Sometimes our friends are our mothers and yada, yada, yada. And all my pets are in heaven, right? Is Brutus in heaven right now? My favorite dog, one of my favorites, was Buttons. Buttons, are you there? Is Peppers there? If Peppers is there, give me a big swing. And my horse is there. Okay. Is Sandy Claus there? My dog that went to Ground Zero? Good. Is Briar Mist here? Look at all my animals are in heaven. Yeah. So in the meantime, when you said that I was going to go on a great journey and the world will never be the same. When I was in Oklahoma City, I heard this voice inside me. First, they said I was going to go to Oprah's house, which I did. I don't know how I got there. Even went to our church. That was interesting. Then I met this old lady I saw an Oprah show, and she said to me, it was so funny. I met this lady in this church. And I think it was, I had just gone to Gary, Indiana, and I was just past there, and I think it was Illinois. It's where they make all the trailers. Anyway, my higher power took me, and that was so weird, you know. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was like foggy, and this guy was in the garage, and my higher power at that time was a white stretch limousine. Did you know that, my higher power? And the reason I wanted a white stretch limousine, I had 3 car accidents. I couldn't get this God thing. And I had 3 speeding tickets. I get 1 more, and I was going to lose my license, and I was on my way to the States running away from my husband, who had just threatened me with the 303. So anyway, I imagined my higher power being a white stretch limousine, and he could shut the window and drive me, and I had to learn to trust the process. So anyway, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd just been threatened by a black man with a gun at a garage, and the garage just was weird. In Gary, Indiana, they had windows that were that thick, plastic, and I had my motorhome, and all I did was want to dump my shitter. So that was so weird, and I had my crazy sister with me. That was nuts. But anyway, and there was no police there. Shit, I was scared to death. So anyway, the thing is, I ended up I ended up at this garage because I needed a garage because I've been just threatened at that garage. And so consequently, there was a white stretch limousine there, right? Is that true? Hey, guys? Okay. And this white stretch limousine, there was a black guy, kind of like the guy that was in that movie that Walt Disney had, and the one that, I forget what they call, what was it called? Califlugic, ever. Anyway, that movie with Dick Van Dyke. And so anyway, there was a black guy, who looked like the black guy in that movie, and he was filling up the car, and I don't know how he knew this. He says, "You're looking for Oprah." I said, "How did you know that?" And he said to me, I just took Oprah to the airport. Is that true? I just took Oprah to the airport, and he said she won't be at home. She's going down to Ground Zero. And so anyway, and then he says, I said to me, you're looking for Oprah. She's just down the road here. And I knew, for some reason, I had this premonition I was going to go to Oprah's. And the weirdest thing is, I went down the road, and then I found her place, and I parked there, and there was a guard house outside, and her house was an olive green. Anyway, in the morning, the guard came to me. He said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you what the guy said to me at the garage. And so he says, you're looking for Oprah. And I said, oh, okay. She says she's not in a good space right now. She'll never go back to that house again because her boyfriend died. And I said, Stedman's dead? Stedman's dead? And he had this sort of soft laugh. And he says, Stedman's not her boyfriend. She says her boyfriend was a bodyguard. Doesn't that sound familiar about that movie? Anyway, he says, and he's dead. And she'll never come back to that house again. And so I went to the house, and there was a big, I saw a big, with a huge cow, purple cow with white spots. Must have been 16 feet. Anyway, I went to the church in the morning, the church that she went to, and it had a blue ceiling, anyway. And I met this old lady, and I remember seeing her on a TV show. That was so fun. And she says, I said, do you know Oprah? Oh, yeah. She says, because I said, you look familiar. She was in her 80s. She was funny. And she said to me, she said, you want to hear a secret about Oprah? I said, no. He said, well, she used to come here with Stedman. I think she said he had some daughters and a wife, maybe. I'm not sure if she said that. But I know she said he came here with her daughters. And she wears these big floppy hats, and she's really quite ugly without her makeup. Old people say the funniest thing. And she says, you want to know a secret? She doesn't even know this. One day we were having a meeting at the church, and we heard something outside the window, so we looked. And Oprah was taking a pee in the back of the church, squatting. Oh, God, she was funny. So then, went ahead of me. And next thing I saw her drive into a cornfield. That was funny. So I go running to the house, the building, and the farm across the road. And I was with Susan at the time. And this guy owned Morgan horses, and he claims he sold Oprah the house. And all I could do was look at Susan's breast, but we were busy calling the cops for the lady that went into the field. Who was that old lady? Now, is that story true or not? Did I tell the truth, guys? Yes. But I went there, and the next thing I went to is on the way to Oklahoma City when I got there, all at once I was singing, oh, Oklahoma, and then I heard about, on the radio, they were saying the building had just got blown into by a plane, so I got the TV out, stopped the motorhome, and pulled out the television and said, Susan, a plane just went into one of the Twin Towers. And then I watched the second one, and I said, uh-oh, this is terrorism. This isn't by chance. And then my higher power said, you're going to Ground Zero. Is that true, Dan Superno? Is that true? Yes? I got to stop.